So, all right. So, hello, everyone. My name is Zane Carlson. I am not the president of Plano West Rotary. Our current president is, I believe, in Atlanta. So, without further ado, I'd like to start the meeting, and I'm going to first turn it over to Mike. Mike, you've got 15 minutes to do brags.
Oh, well, thanks. So I've got 12 people, so I got a minute per person. Well, Fred, you're kind of long-winded. Why don't we start with you? Do you have a brag?
You know, I want to brag on this club, not necessarily because it's Plano West Rotary, but for the people that aren't even Rotarians that are participating and helping, you know, embrace service above self and everything. And the fact that we're multicultural and everything, I can't wait until we have an opportunity to get together to learn something that I don't know, which could be a large things, but you know, during the time in the Douglas Vision, handing out food and everything, the opportunity to get to know, especially that young man down there on the bottom left of my screen, James Thomas, and the Thomas family and everything, that was gratifying, and I really missed that opportunity, James. And if you could hold a slot open for Daniel and I, we'd love to help you at the schools too. So just let us know, okay? Anyway, but I feel like we're more of a family now than a Rotary Club, but I'm grateful for that.
Told you he was long-winded. You know, if we were at the club, we charge for brags, and that'd have been a $5 brag right there. Okay, Catherine, you ever brag?
I do actually. You know, with the recent conclusion of our municipal elections, I want to brag on how gratifying it was to participate in that. You know, for so many years, our municipal elections were nonpartisan, and people honored that. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. It could have potentially been a lot nastier than it was, and I will say, the party that I happen to affiliate with made great efforts to try to be bipartisan and support candidates that we normally wouldn't, because they were the candidates that were qualified and made sense, and we were happy to see John Munn's elected as mayor, and we still have two, I believe, gals who we need to support in the runoff coming up in June, and that would be Julie Homer and Casey Prince. We do know already what great service Casey has performed for our city, and so we do need her back, and we do need Julie as a new council member. So thank you. Speaking of, there she is.
I tuned in at the right time. Thank you, Catherine, for those kind words. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Catherine. Michelle, do you ever brag?
Well, okay, yeah, real quick, two brags. First one brag is I got to see both of my granddaughters this weekend, which was a joy. Got to see our 7-month-old Vivienne and our 6-year-old Charlotte, and had lots of fun with both of them. So it's just been wonderful to be a very young grandmother. And my other brag is I'm really excited today to talk about the position of president-elect. So hopefully y'all stick around for the program, because I'm excited to share my views on that position.
What do we interpret that as you're the new president-elect?
No, sir. I just have done it before, and I'm willing to talk about it.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Why?
Hey,
did you want to be a president-elect?
I'm sorry, you're muted. Glenn, do you ever brag?
Well, yeah, she stole my grandkid brag, but I'll add on to that. That was fun. We had fun. I brag on the club also. I mean, we've grown so much, and things have gotten complicated, and we're Zooming and not meeting, but the club and people are stepping up, not only for service, which we know that's what we're all about, but for some of these positions we're going to talk about today. So I'm actually pretty excited that a lot of these are getting filled and by great people, and we're going to fill these committees, and we're learning to be a bigger club, which is it's growing pains, as we said in the email, and we're learning, and it's going to be fun.
Thanks, Glenn. Hey, Roxanne, do you ever brag? Or Roxana?
Yes, yes, I do. Well, I already went back to work. I'm going part-time right now. I'm gonna start full-time in June, but it's fun to see everything there. Start to learn everything there at work. We work in Garland, and so that's exciting. What else? Well, I also have another guest. I don't know why. But next week my sister is coming, but this week a cousin came from Oaxaca, from Mexico. So that's really fun. She brought a lot of food that is from there, like mole and chocolate. Chocolate is from there, and cheese. There's a mozzarella that is so delicious. She brought 6, like this size of mozzarella cheese. It's so so good. We finished 2 already, and she brought that. Yeah, I know. Last night I just stomachache, but I really enjoy that. So that's all for now.
Thank you, Roxana. Joanna Snowden, you ever brag?
I guess a personal brag, the harp ensemble that I'm in, we finished up our 2 end of semester pieces. The way that we don't have concerts right now like we normally do. So our teacher films us performing. And we got through both of the pieces. And I don't know if anybody cares about this. If you are, send me a text and I'll add you to the list. And when they're all put together, I'll send you a link to the video.
Oh,
but
good.
it was kind of a big deal. So
thank you,
for us, it was. So
thank you. Mr. John Rossell, do you ever brag?
Well, I would like to brag about this club. This weekend, we have an opportunity to really shine with Love Where You Live. We are still looking for volunteers. So I believe it was yesterday, Glenn sent an email inviting folks to sign up. And it's just a great example of how closely we work with the city. And Roxana, I'm really hungry now. Chocolate, mozzarella cheese, what else?
Yeah. Yeah, she brought some tortillas that are this size, and they're homemade masa.
This big?
Yes, they're called tlayudas.
They're huge, huh?
Yeah, yes. And I mean, she brought a full luggage. We're so happy, but now we need to finish that fast, before it spoils.
So everyone, you can find Roxana's address on that Club Runner app.
Hey, thank you. Mr. James Thomas, you ever brag?
Yeah, my brag is like my wonderful mentor, Mr. Fred B. and Glenn has said, just being a part, being affiliated with this amazing group has certainly kind of boosted my life and made a major impact. And as I reflect, I keep thinking, I mean, you have folks like Zane, who's our step-in president today. You guys do so very much for my community, for our community. Catherine, all of you do. And I had an interview the other day and I was just bragging about how wonderful it is to be associated with so many people with the hearts that you guys have. I mean, you can do nothing but just applaud how wonderful each of you are. It makes a difference. And as I was looking and reflecting quickly, I just want to say, you guys realize that I have never, ever attended an in-person Rotary Club meeting, never. And I feel like I've known you guys forever, amen. I feel like I've been here forever. Okay, now I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because, but it seems like I've known you forever and I've never attended an in-person Rotary Club meeting. So aspirations of doing that one day, Mike, okay?
It's come, I don't know when the first official one's coming, but hopefully soon.
I think.
I'm just wondering what everybody really looks like.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, thank you. LaShawn, do you have a brag this morning?
Can y'all hear me?
A little bit.
Okay, my mic wasn't working last time.
She's very muffled, Mike.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you. It looks like your volume's turned down a little bit.
I've got it turned up as far as it can go. Maybe my computer's dying. If you all can hear me, my brag is on my daughter got married this weekend. Can you hear me?
What'd you say happened?
Yay! Her daughter got married this weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
Here to celebrate that, so that was wonderful. And I just returned from my granddaughter's graduation from pre-K. So those are my two brags.
Those are good brags. In a whisper, but we heard them. Thank you. Thank you, LaShawn. Hope that son-in-law measures up. Hey, Joy, do you have a brag?
I do, an awesome segue. I want to brag on LaShawn and also Michelle and everyone in District 5810 that worked 2 weekends ago and put together the goodie bags for the homeless individuals. Michelle and Glenn brought in 504, is that right? 504 kits yesterday for us to distribute to our clients and the homeless people that we encounter. So I'm just super excited and appreciate everything. We were so glad Michelle made sure we knew LaShawn packed these, so we have some personal connection to those bags. So, but yes, super excited about that, and thank you guys so much for everything you did.
Great, that's a good brag, Joy. Thank you, Miss Homer, Julia Homer. You have a brag?
I do. We had election day on Saturday, and as Catherine mentioned, we have runoffs coming. So in my race, which is the Plano City Council Place 7, it was a crowded race. There were 5 candidates in there, and I got the most votes of all of those 5 candidates. So I'm going to the runoff with another gentleman. I hope I can get all of you to get back out to vote for me on June 5th. I'm not sure exactly when early voting is. I think there will be a few days of early voting, but there's 4 days.
May 24th.
May 24th. Okay, thank you,
Starts.
Catherine. And so I just really need to get people back out. That's been a challenge in the past, getting people to the runoffs. And in comparison to my opponent, I've been in Plano 40 years. I think he's been here about 5. I'm a product of Plano schools. He is not, and I have children in Plano schools, and his are in private schools here. And I'm between the two of us, I'm the only one that went through Leadership Plano, went through the Citizens Police and Fire Academies, has been involved in our community in so many different ways, so many different nonprofits. I love Plano, and I want to serve Plano on council. And so I would really appreciate you telling your friends, reminding them there's a runoff, spreading the word, take them to the polls with you, whatever you can do. And I'm also looking to raise money. So if you want to go to my website, julieforplano.com, you can make a donation there. I'm also happy to get people t-shirts if you are out and about and you're willing to wear it to be a walking billboard for me, or if you would like a yard sign, anything that you would like to do to support my campaign would be greatly appreciated. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie. Mr. Antonio Harris, you have a brag?
Yes. I do have a brag. I have a brag that I got to know Taha and Zane just a little bit better today, because we played Topgolf from 10 to 11:30 this morning, actually. It was super fun. I had a blast. And also what was super awesome was that it was super cheap because we actually played during like literally the cheapest slot you could possibly get. Tuesday morning is only $13.50 per an hour. And normally on weekdays, if you play at night, it can get as high as $49 per an hour. But we paid $13.50 per an hour.
All right. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I think Zane, my 15 minutes is up if you want to take it back.
Yeah, so now I would like to turn it over to Fred to do the prayer. Fred, take it away.
Would you pray with me, please? Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together, and we are so grateful for the blessings that you have bestowed upon us, not only as a club, but as a family. And it's great to get to know folks from all over the world and introduce them to Rotary. And we're grateful that they have embraced the ideal of service above self, which makes Rotary great. And we thank you for the young people that are involved with Rotary at the college level, but also those that become members of Plano West Rotary. We ask you'll be the center of their lives, and you can direct and guide them and use those young folks for your service. Again, we thank you for the blessings to live in this great country and the ability to have elections freely and so many other things that we're grateful for. Our grandchildren, our families, our jobs, those things that we take for granted. And Lord, we ask you will be with the folks in India and other countries that are still being affected by the virus. And we know that we'll step up as Rotarians and also as humanitarians and help those countries. But we are so fortunate, so blessed, and hopefully we can be a shining light, and we can bring some hope to those folks that are in need of our prayers and our support. We ask these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, thank you so much. And then now I'm going to turn it over to Roxana to do the pledge. Give me 1 second and let me pull up the flag. All right. Roxana, go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you so much. So today is going to be a little bit different of a meeting. We're going to be kind of talking about club leadership. So, before I get into that, I'd like to welcome in some of our new member applicants. So we have Isabel and Shannon. They both filled out an application recently. Please take some time out of your day to send them a text, send them an email, kind of get to know them, and we'll be inducting them super soon. All right, so now I'd like to talk a little bit about club leadership. So, as was previously mentioned a little bit in the brags, our club has grown tremendously. We're extremely diverse. We're serving the community more and more each day. And, with the tremendous growth, I mean, again, we've almost tripled our membership, comes some growing pains. And so, we've definitely faced challenges with, scaling up. But each time we were able to kind of get some support and be able to move forward in a positive way. And so, I'd like to kind of cover some of the leadership opportunities that are open today, and you'll hear from a lot of our current and leadership for next year. And so it's just extremely important that we kind of support each other and step up a little bit here and there. And it's important to note that some of these roles don't even take that much time. I mean, you can join a committee and, based on your ability to, commit time, you'll be given an appropriate amount of work. And so it's kind of just about stepping up and supporting each other a little bit because, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And so it's important that we kind of support each other. And so I'd like to go through the leadership structure really quickly. So the board of directors is kind of the governing body of our club. And there's also an executive committee, which has, roles like the president, treasurer, president-elect, and secretary. And so members of the executive committee are also members of the board of directors. And then the rest of the club reports to the board of directors. So, there's committees like membership and service projects, all of these other committees, all of our other sponsored organizations all report to the board. So we need a little bit of help, both in the executive committee and in some of the core committees that I'm about to get to. So like I said, the executive committee covers roles like president, president-elect, treasurer, secretary, and past president. And then there's core committees. So core committees are required by Rotary International. So it's like in our constitution that we have to have these committees, and they're really important to kind of the core functioning of our club. So there's membership, foundation, service project, public image, and club administration. So leading each one of these committees is like a committee chair. And so they kind of, delegate tasks to members of the committee to kind of navigate the direction and, help solve any challenges that are occurring. And so, there are some roles that are open where you could be like a committee chair, or you could be a member of the executive committee, but then there's also a lot of opportunities within committees. You don't have to be leading the committee, but if you have a little bit of time, everyone should be able to join at least one committee. And then there's, in addition to core committees, there's a bunch of other kind of temporary, not a year-long commitment, just a temporary committee for things like pecans or scholarships. They're kind of maybe active for 1 or 2 months, and then once their event or their scholarship or what have you is complete, they kind of become a little bit dormant until next year. And so it's kind of a seasonal type thing. And so now that I've introduced the leadership structure, I'd like to turn it over to Michelle. Michelle is going to discuss the role of the president-elect, and when she's done, you'll have an opportunity for a quick Q&A, get your questions answered. So Michelle, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. Okay, make sure my volume's on. Okay, I am so excited to talk about president-elect today because I was a president-elect, and I'd only been in the club for 2 years when I became president-elect. So we've got so many new members in our club, and I'm hoping they will watch this video later, those that weren't able to make it today, because this job isn't that hard, and you've got a whole year to prepare to be president. So, and the other thing I want to say is when I was president-elect, I didn't know very much about Plano West Rotary either. So it is doable. If I can do it, anybody here can do it. So what is the job of the president-elect? Well, basically you're spending a whole year training and learning to become the president of our club. So all you really need to do is just understand the basics of what our club does, and some of the general things, but also the things that are specific to our club. So for, I guess, let's see. I want to start with what are some of the basics. So club meetings, just like we're doing today, Zane got a template probably from Alex. And so it kind of had an outline of what to cover. Pretty much all Rotary clubs that I'm aware of will have invocation, pledge, and then at the end, the 4-way test. I would say more specific to our club, we prioritize brags and a program. Not all Rotary clubs do brags. Not all clubs do programs every week, but those are a couple things that my understanding is that we have valued that for many years, even before I came, and we have maintained those. So just kind of starting to understand and pay attention to our club meetings and how those work. Another thing that the president-elect would do is be on the monthly board meetings. This is about an hour to an hour and a half once a month. And there's a couple of reasons, at least 2 reasons why you'd want to do that. One, you want to attend them because you want to learn what's going on in our club. What are we voting on? You'll start to hear, well, this is how, or why we did this in the past, and that's why we've carried it through. And then we can discuss if that makes sense to continue to do that way or to change it because we're a lot bigger. So learning about how and why things are the way they are. But the other thing is the president-elect is also a voting member, as Zane mentioned earlier with his chart. So you can start as president-elect to start impacting the decisions of our club the way you would like to see our club go. Obviously, hopefully taking inputs from all the club members, but you can have a say in that as well. Another thing that you would want to do in your president-elect year is start to understand the budget of our club. We've been a poor club. compared to other clubs. We used to, because we were smaller. Now we're bigger, but we still haven't had our fundraiser due to COVID. So our income comes from dues, which our dues have been really cheap during COVID. And our main fundraiser is the Plano Balloon Festival, making funnel cakes. So understanding where our income comes from, as well as all the expenditures that our club has throughout the year, which can be a lot of club administrative costs, but also when we used to bring in money, we also used to donate it to some beneficiaries. So, so understanding the ins and outs of the money of our club is something that you would want to know, because you will be the leader in your year as president of the budget. Now, granted, you have to work with the board and vote on things. You can't just, you know, make all the decisions yourself. My timer's already up. Okay, well, there's lots of things to do, but and you really should go to PETS, which is the President-elect training, and that your PETS would be February 24th through 27th of 2022, where you can learn about how Plano West fits into our district and make connections with other clubs. And I'm going to stop because I want to leave time for questions.
Perfect. Does anyone have any questions? All right, cool. And I just want to say on the note about PETS, PETS is obviously it's required, and I attended it just to attend, and it is super helpful. There's just so much information and connections that you get from attending. So yeah, that's super important for president-elects. All right, and now I am going to move on to club administration. Glenn, take it away.
Okay, I just set my timer too, good idea. So I'm going to, little different than what Zane said earlier. He said, and he's correct, Rotary says you have to have a club admin committee. Well, this club hasn't for a long time, ever since I've been here for 10 years. The tasks have been done. They've been done by other roles. Almost every president, most of them, they do the programs. The secretary sends out the communications to the club. You know, the things all happened, but there wasn't really a club admin committee. And as we've grown, and as things have gotten bigger and a lot of times more complicated, we need to start evolving that. So you can look at club admin up on Rotary.org, and it has a lot of these pieces. But to me, it really boils down to, if someone could be a lead on that, a chair, and have a committee underneath, the two things that I would say, maybe three, that we could start initially focusing on would be someone to pick up the communications. That's the example of the e-news or bulletin that goes out every Monday. There's other, this morning, there was about this leadership team email. So communications to the club, that's via Club Runner. I can show you how to do that in 30 minutes. So a person on that committee could be responsible for that, for example. The programs, I think Alex has got all the way through maybe the end of the calendar year almost filled up. So if someone wants to be, whoever's going to be the chair and on that committee, you really be focusing on programs for starting in January of next year. You don't, not a lot to be done, but you got plenty of time to get to working on that. So someone could be a program chair. And then as we kind of creep out of COVID, you know, we've always had like a fellowship social person to kind of coordinate some events every once in a while. That was usually Lisa. Lisa's not on, I don't think, but and we've had, you know, we've had Halloween parties. We've had Valentine's Day. For a while, if there were 5 Tuesdays in a month, on that 5th Tuesday, we had a social, but just things to get together. Could be still Zoom, could be a hybrid. If we could pick up those 3 pieces, and then as we start having hybrid meetings, which by the way, that's coming in the next month or 2, initially, you know, we'll evolve as to how that works, because, you know, club admin is also kind of the logistics of the meeting, but we have a lot of those pieces covered now through Alex and Zane and a little bit of myself. So I think it's just 2 or 3 pieces, and then kind of seeing how this evolves as the club grows. Any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. So what do you mean by programs? You said Alex, you mentioned Alex has them filled all the way up until the rest of the year, and we won't need programs until January, but like, what do you mean by programs? Do you mean like volunteering events?
No, so like we have the police chief coming up in a few weeks. He is the program on our meeting, on our club meeting. He's going to be the speaker.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about speakers for the meeting.
They're speakers, but so 90% of them are speakers, but every once in a while we'll have a club meeting that is not a speaker, it's us. So whatever the program is for our Tuesday noon meeting, have something for that. And Alex has not all of them, but he has several of those, most of those through the end of the calendar year. So what other programs could we be having, in the next year? What other speakers could we have? That's what I mean by that.
Okay, got you. And so would you just like reach out? Like how would you know who to contact to like I don't know if it's like too in-depth of a question, but like how would you know who to contact, like who to like speak at our meeting, and like even like some of the club members as well? Like how do you like what people are we looking for, and like how do you find the people?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a combination. I mean, I've done it before and I've seen what we have this year, and other people can speak up, but I know we're connected with the city of Plano and ISD. So there's all kinds of opportunities for speakers to come from there, for example. Or I think we have someone coming from Street Side Showers. We've supported this charity, so there could be a speaker. And that's one where we reach out to our contacts and our liaisons or whatever, but also often people will come to us and say, I would like to talk to your club about XYZ. And so, we look at that, but that happens quite often, actually. We don't always say yes to them, but sometimes we do. And then we can also, I remember when I was president, I would look at some of the other clubs, go to their website. Oh, they had, it's like a great program, a good speaker that Plano Metro put on. I'll contact them. And then finally, I keep saying finally, maybe this is the last finally, the district has a spreadsheet they try to keep up to date of people that are available to speak at clubs, and it's like pages long. And so I went through that often, and it's by category. Do you want history, or do you want, real estate, or whatever you want? And you can contact them, and they've already know that they're on this list, or they're not going to be totally cold called that you're calling them, and they speak to the club. So there's lots of opportunity to get people involved. All I would say, and Alex has done a great job, is you want to stay ahead of it. You don't want to be looking at next week's program today. You want to be looking at 3 months from now program, kind of keep ahead of the curve.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Alex, I would, or rather not Alex, Glenn, I would definitely be open to helping with this role. So I'll chat with you about it offline if that's okay.
Yeah, I hope Zane's going to probably say something about it if people are interested in what you do next. But yeah, sure, please do. Yeah.
Yeah, and on that note, I will kind of go over that form towards the end of the meeting. But yeah, for sure, we do need a lot of help in that space, and of course, we do need the club administration chair. And so next up, I'm going to hand it over to Roxana. She'll kind of go over the membership committee, and then there's also an interesting and really important opportunity within membership. So Roxana, take it away.
Okay, I'm gonna set my timer, but I don't think I'm gonna get to use all my time. Membership chairperson is responsible for the identification, selection, and welcoming of new members. And also, we're in charge of the retention of our members. So with our club growing so fast pace, we're very busy in the new member area. So I'm going to explain to you what we do there. Like I said before, we're responsible for identification, selection of the new members. We might issue a letter of invitation to suitable members, candidates, and then the new membership, the chairperson will also receive applications from prospective members, and we will call them, we will welcome them, invite them to the meetings, make sure they come to the induction. And after the induction is done, we take their new member kits. And so this is a great opportunity to meet new members. This to me was a great experience because you get to know everybody that is becoming a new member, and you get to know about their family, their hobbies, what they like. And many times you get to know them in person, but safe distance. And this is when you deliver the kits. And also on the other hand, we do outreach, which is reaching out to existing members. It's another very important responsibility. And I have a fabulous team. Lisa, Clevie, Mihir are on my team. And so we do surveys, which what we're doing right now is we're calling members to see what are their needs, their issues, their desires. And also when we go back to our meetings in person, we're gonna have more activities. And also we're planning right now to have a membership time in our meetings. So we're working on that. But the exciting news is that we have an opening in our new member area, and we're looking for a new member chair. And we have two options. You could be as involved as you desire. That will be like issuing a letter of invitation, receiving application, contacting them and be at the meeting, telling them when their induction is going to be and be at the meeting, and then delivering the kits to their house or office. Or you can be less involved and you can have the option of only delivering the new member kits to them the day of the induction. And that is also really fun. But what we just ask you to do is to attend the meeting and make sure that the new member is inducted. And then anytime after the meeting, you take the kit to the house or office. And we're looking for 2 to 3 people to do this. And we ask that if you can't deliver the kits in that day, because it has to be that day, that you find somebody that can do that for you. And for any of these 2 options, if you wanna belong to our group, you're never gonna be alone. We will be there for you. I mean, I'll be there to help you with any questions. And there is no experience necessary. And at the beginning, I struggled with language. It's not my first language, but anybody can do this. And so you're welcome to talk to me if you want to become part of our committee. Even if you want to be with us in our outreach, we need all kinds of more ideas. So any questions?
Oh, Roxana, I'll also talk with you offline because I have some ideas and I definitely love to help as well.
Perfect. Please.
Yeah, I'll definitely give you a call.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect.
Anybody else?
All right. Sounds like no one else, but it's again, membership's super important, and obviously, like Roxana highlighted, the 2 sides of it, like the outreach and then the existing members. So yeah, feel free to reach out to her. We really do need your help. So yeah, that would be awesome. And then next up, I'm going to go over the Public Image Committee. So Bianca was the Public Image Chair this year, and she'll also be the Public Image Chair next year. But there's a lot of opportunities in public image that are going to kind of open up. And so, yeah, she sent me a video that I will share now.
And I am the committee chair for the Public Image Committee. I'm delighted to share a little bit about what our club's Public Image Committee does and how you can get involved. Some of the responsibilities of the Public Image Committee are writing articles for the monthly district newsletter, writing articles for local news media, and weekly social media posts across all of our club's social media platforms. If you are looking for a way you can get involved with this committee, you've come to the right place. We have several opportunities for members to help out on the committee, such as writing 1 to 3 stories a month for the district newsletter. These stories are usually about 1 to 2 paragraphs long, and they're about recent club activities and service projects with pictures to go along with. This is our way of sharing what we as Plano West Rotary Club are doing with the rest of the district. The committee would also love to have individuals interested in writing articles for local news and media outlets. This will help us spread information to the general public about who we are and what we do to better our community. Another way you can help out on the committee is by taking pictures at service project events. These pictures are then later used when creating our weekly social media post. Speaking of social media posts, a great opportunity to get involved with this committee is by engaging with our social media content. Make sure to like our posts, drop a comment, and share them with others. Here are some examples of the different social media posts that the Public Image Committee is responsible for scheduling. There's an agency responsible for posting the content on designated days. Each week, they send me suggested content, and it's the committee's responsibility to complete the post by matching club images to it and making any other necessary changes. The posts allow us to share different volunteer opportunities with members and with the public. And recently, we are working to spread information about the COVID-19 vaccination. How much time is involved? That's a great question, and I have good news. It doesn't take much time at all. Creating each week's post usually takes around 30 minutes, and the time spent creating a story for either the newspaper or local media news outlets depends on how detailed and how long the writing is. If you have a busy schedule, but you want to start getting involved, the Public Image Committee is a great place to start. If you're interested in joining the committee, please feel free to find my contact information in the club directory. You can email me, or we can schedule time to have a Zoom meeting, and I can answer any more questions you may have about the committee.
All right, perfect. So yeah, again, I know the Public Image Committee has been doing a really good job, but obviously they can always use more help. And again, I know there's a lot more opportunities that will pop up as we start the next year. So now I'd like to go over the Foundation Committee. Randall is not able to be here, but he did send me some slides. So yeah, real quick, I'd like to go over the Foundation Committee. So basically, the Rotary Foundation is a huge part of, is a huge enabler of what Rotary can do, right? Without the funding, I mean, it's difficult to get large scale international projects off the ground. And so the Rotary Foundation is like really about supporting the good work that we're doing and funding really amazing service projects. And so, the foundation gives out grants and everything. And so the responsibilities of the Foundation Committee is to promote the foundation and then also manage things like the Paul Harris Fellow. I know, like, for example, Randall gives the Paul Harris ceremony whenever we have a new Paul Harris Fellow. And then there's also, the fact of reporting foundation related activities to Rotary International, whether that be, new Paul Harris Fellows or what have you. And then there's also the member point system for the Paul Harris Fellow. So as you may know, the Foundation Committee tracks various activities that you do within the club. There is like an Excel spreadsheet that you fill out. And so like if you attend all the meetings, or if you volunteer at service projects or sponsor a new member, all of these different things will give you points. And once you reach 1,000, you're able to get a Paul Harris Fellow designation. And so, his committee does a lot of that legwork tracking it. And that's one of the really big opportunities where he could use some help, because obviously our club has just grown so much. It's very different managing Paul Harris points for 21 people as opposed to 61, about to be 63. So he could really use some help with people that are just, willing to track some of those membership, the member point system. And then the committee is also really open to fundraising opportunities. Obviously, I think Michelle mentioned earlier that our club has not been able to do a fundraiser due to COVID. And so, fundraiser opportunities would be, also helpful to the committee. And so, there's a lot of opportunities, and most of them are, don't really require a physical presence. So it's, something you can do at your desk, and it's not too difficult. So yeah, that's a little bit about the foundation committee. Feel free to reach out to Randall if you have any questions about it. Again, it's really important to the work they do, and I definitely think the committee could use some help. So that's a really important opportunity. And then next up, I'd like to introduce Joanna. She's going to be talking about the Service Project Committee.
Well, I'm going to be very brief because I am the incoming Service Project Chair, but I really don't know a whole lot about, because I just joined, about what the general process is. And then with COVID, I think some things have changed that maybe, haven't been able to be done in the past. For example, one of the things that I asked Michelle about was, well, what in general are the things that Rotary, Plano West Rotary does every year? Like, what are the, every year we got this on the calendar service project. And one of them, of course, is the funnel cakes for the Balloon Festival. And as far as I know, no final decision has been made about the Balloon Festival yet. I am hopeful personally that by September, we'll be able to do that, and we'll be able to have a big, big fundraiser, and everybody's going to sign up to make and sell funnel cakes, and it'll be lots of fun. But the other thing that can still go forward without COVID is, of course, Pecan Sales. That's another thing that Michelle told me about every year. And Fred Bevendorfer is kind of the head honcho on this one, right? Fred, is that correct? Yes. And he's not saying anything, but I'm just going to say yes for him. And that is something that we will not have to, I think we can do that without any COVID considerations. That can go forward. On top, let's see, there's some question about a new fundraiser that is an idea that Alex had, and it's about setting up and taking down flags. Then people pay for that. That is all I know about it. I don't know anything else. But that was mentioned by Michelle as a potential fundraiser. Right now, to my knowledge, there really isn't a committee. I guess it's, me and Michelle. And everybody that's doing a service project is just kind of out there doing their own thing, like they put it together, and then they report back up to Alex about it, and not necessarily through the service project committee or anything like that. If we want to keep it that way, all well and good. If we need to have it a little bit more centralized and organized, just in terms of reporting, maybe that would be good. I don't know. But here's the thing. I need help on a committee for people that have done this before. Let's figure out if we need to make changes, what kind of changes we need to make. If we want to keep stuff the same, let's keep those things the same. The things that have been working, let's keep those the same. Now, I don't know that. So that's why I need help from members that have been there in the past, and are always open to new ideas as well, obviously. So thank you.
Well, Joanna, I would definitely like to help you. Love Where You Live is the first project that I'm coordinating. And quite candidly, it seems kind of slow and disorganized recruiting volunteers. We need 25 volunteers.
Well, and
So-
John, the other thing that came up is that yours is on the same weekend as our big effort, and I say our because I'm part of this little subgroup, to do door hangers. Right?
Well,
we've
that
got
was part of
two-
that's part of what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah,
but,
we've got two
but you know, the
huge
city
projects
the city
on
came
the
to
same
us.
weekends, you
Yep.
know?
Well, the city came to us, and then they also asked for help with painting the curb. So it's like, well, are
we
we
have
going
a
to
lot
say?
of members. We just got to activate those members, I think. Somehow.
Well, maybe this is a conversation we're better having offline, but these are some of my observations and why I'd love to help you, so that let's take this as a learning experience for the club. And I'd love to chat with you offline so that we can just get better.
No, I definitely see where you're coming from on that.
And also, I just like to point out, there's also the Rotary District Roundtable from 10 to 12 that day as well. So that's like 3 Rotary things like in one day. So I think we definitely need some help on Joanna's team and some people who have done this before. Because speaking from experience, like I think there should be a centralized source to go to rather than Alex, the president. I think it's good to alleviate some stress from the presidential role since they already do so much. So I think Joanna's team is extremely important because like we're all about service. So we need to support our service committee.
Well, we
Catherine,
also
you had-
have, and I don't know if it's a database or how the records are kept. And Joanna, if we should defer this conversation to offline, but I'm trying to figure out, what about the hundreds of non-Rotarians who have volunteered for years for our projects?
Yeah. Catherine, did you have something?
I just want, I'm just gonna put in 2 cents since Alex isn't here. And I don't know, I guess he's picked me as his regular person to complain to. So I'm just gonna say, Alex does not want to continue the role of being the person that all the people who are trying to coordinate their projects go to. He does not want that job as president. So basically, we do need to get we do need to support a committee that's in charge of this. And then we need to go, and I think it's, just a matter of rounding everything up. There are tools and ways to do it. And unfortunately, since there's so many new people, including me, trying to do something because I volunteered to do it, but there isn't like a class or, here's the place that you go to on the drive that gives you all the forms and all the directions. I just think all that needs to be coordinated. And I think if you work with Alex to get all that coordinated and then push that out, I think that will help a lot. And I think he will be more than happy to do that because then that'll take that away from him. And I do think he's been doing an extraordinary effort to your point, John, to recruit volunteers because he is exceptional at getting those opportunities out on Facebook. And that's the way that we've been attracting those other people who are not necessarily members to do things. And I believe that they are interested. So it's just a matter of taking that off of his shoulders so that we get better at coordinating this. And, he's also the first one to say yes, especially to the city. And if we're going to be doing all this stuff, if you take, we take this off of him, it's within our realm to say no to some things where it's like, you know what, we need to prioritize. And we tell the city, look, we could do this or we could do this.
Yeah.
And then let them, okay, well, what's more important for you all to do? We're happy to do it in the future. But obviously it is not healthy for us to try to coordinate.
Oh, okay. So
big events on that. That should not be, I think, the normal operations.
Yeah. So
so that's my 2 cents.
We may be thinking the same way, because I'm looking at this Saturday and where are the 9 volunteers going to come from to paint the curbs? I don't know. I'm just being blunt. I don't know at this point. We have 1.
Yeah. So I think this has been some really good dialogue, and it's obviously extremely important that we have these kinds of conversations. So I don't want to speak for everything that was just said, but I think the core point is that we really do need to support this committee, and it has to be a committee. You know, it has to have buy-in from everyone. It can't just be, you know, the traditional committee of one or committee of two. So yeah, and of course there were some really good ideas that everyone pointed out. So it's you know, it's really important that we kind of come together to make some of these decisions and, you know, have this become a, you know, a team. So yeah, that I think that was really important, and thank you so much everyone for pitching into that dialogue. Really quickly, I do want to go over some of our next steps. So let me share my screen. So the way that you can, you know, sign up and get involved in the committee, it's pretty simple. Go on our website, planowestrotary.com, go under About Us, and then Member Information. And once you're there, there'll be a section called Club Committees, and you can click to sign up. And that will take you to a Sign Up Genius. And on the Sign Up Genius, there are kits where you can learn, you know, a bunch about, you know, the specific committee that you want to participate in. For example, membership, public relations, club service, all of these different committees and some of the roles that we need help on. And then you can also sign up to, you know, be part of a committee. And so, you know, there's membership, service projects, all of those core committees that we just talked about. And then there's also some other more temporary committees like RILA, scholarships, and, you know, all of the kind of seasonal type committees. So yeah, again, that's going to our website, going to the member information page, and then clicking the sign up under club committees. So yeah, feel free to reach out. Please do reach out to, you know, the current chairs of the committees and what have you, to be able to learn a little bit more about the role and, you know, sign up if you're able to. So yeah, I think that's basically everything. Let's close it off with the 4-way test, and Clevie will be doing that. Give me 1 minute. All right, Clevie, take it away.
Everyone, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. The 4-way test of thinking to per se. Number 1 is the truth. Number 2 is a clear false return. Number 3 will build goodwill and better friendship. And number 4 will it be beneficial to all concerned.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And then before we head off, one last thing I forgot to mention. Next week, we'll be hearing from Plano Police Chief Drain, and that will be, yeah, next week, May 11th. So it should be an exciting program, and hope you all show up. So thank you so much for attending our meeting. I think we had some really great discussions, and hopefully it was informative, and make sure to sign up for committees.
Good job, Zane. Appreciate
Thank you.
Sir.
Bye.